I don't have on any makeup. I got y'all so far back that I can't even see you. I can't even see you. But here's the thing. I don't know. There's just so much fuckery going on. I feel like we should discuss it. I think we should discuss it. Hey, cool kids. Thank you so much for joining me. Excuse the very chaotic intro, but I just had to be transparent about where I was and how I was feeling. I've really been feeling this sense of urgency since the election to make even more content. I've also been feeling a sense of urgency because I've been unemployed for 14 months and I would really love to become a full-time content creator. People need better things to watch. And I don't even think they realize it yet, but we've got to give the people better things to watch. People need more options than far-right spirals and conservative conspiracy theory rabbit holes. We need to show people that there's a better way to be. Because apparently books aren't political. Like, for the last week, we've had content creators who specifically talk about books decide that they were going to stand on business and announce that their accounts do not stand on business. Books aren't political, actually. Reading in general is not political. It's just meant for escapism. That is the most delusional thing I've ever heard in my adult life. So I figured to combat all of that delulu, I would tell you the most political book that I read in the year of 2024. So first, let me start off by saying what I think a political book is. I have lots of books that are about politics, specifically books that are about very heavy issues. But for me, a political book is a book that encourages me to think a little bit harder about the world around me. One more time. A political book, to me, is a book that encourages me to think a little bit more about the world around me. I've read many, many books in 2024, but I think there was one book that made me think the most as I was reading, and you would be surprised to know that it's this one. The most political book that I read in 2024 is far and away Britney Spears, The Woman in Me. I'm 33 years old, and when someone says pop star, I am associating those words in my head with Britney Spears. Her memoir came out in 2023, and it was highly anticipated, and like her music, the book was an immediate hit. And when I tell you, I just knew she was gonna be talking her shit, and I couldn't wait. There are parts of this book that dive deep into some of the experiences of Britney's life that we had front row seats to. She talks about the whirlwind marriage, the Madonna kiss, the performance with the Yellow Snake. I mean, everything. Her sons, K-Fed, and of course, she talks about Justin Timberlake. We get some pretty juicy details before we even get to the Free Britney movement, to like get her out of the conservatorship. First and foremost, I thought a lot about my own childhood to kind of match up the experiences that I remember with her account of them was really trippy for my mind. I thought the absolute most about women having ownership of their own bodies. It's really interesting to see and then to read the process of Britney Spears slowly losing control over her own body. Meaning she goes from being a pop star, America's sweetheart, personas that she was very particular about creating. I mean, she knew exactly what she wanted Baby One More Time to sound like. She knew exactly what she wanted the visuals to be like. To watch her go from that to being locked in a mental hospital and being told what she could eat, when she could see her kids, medicine she had to take, and when she could and couldn't go on tour, and what she could and couldn't sing. It was very... Is my mic on? Y'all, my microphone died. How long has that... Okay, I was supposed to be looking for my spare microphone, but I had went and got a snack instead. I think that was a much better use of my time. Like it's midnight now, so it was like a literal midnight snack. Did not put my scarf back on, and I don't really want to. It was kind of tight on my head. I don't know, does the hair look? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I can't see y'all, remember? And this is also a state of emergency video. So like, whatever. I'm sure y'all will tell me if it looks terrible. And if it looks terrible on playback, I'm probably still gonna upload it. But if it looks like too bad, I don't know, I'm probably still gonna upload it. It doesn't matter. Anyways, where was I? Yes, watching Britney Spears, reading Britney Spears. Side note, when I say watching, it really is because when I read, the book plays out in my head. Let me know in the comments if that happens for you. Reading Britney Spears go from having such control over her body to literally being told when she could eat, when she could speak to the press, when she could perform, when she could sing and dance, when she could do what she loved. It was really jarring to see. It made me think about how we're having those same conversations in a different way. Speaking of that, there's a part in the book where Britney Spears talks about getting an abortion. She got pregnant by Justin Timberlake when she was, I think, 19, and that was the route she decided to go with the pregnancy. All of my takes for discussing this part have just not been coming out quite right, and I think that that's a sign. You know, I really do, because at the end of the day, I don't want to set the example that medical procedure should be a topic that anyone should have an opinion about. You know, I think that it was written beautifully. I think that she was very raw and honest in telling her story. Reproductive healthcare in America is under attack right now, and I think that she really does humanize that story. It was one of my favorite parts of the book because it was one that she really walked her audience through beautifully. I think the last part that I want to talk about is Britney's interactions with the press and with the paparazzi. Whoa. Let me think about so much as far as our relationship to celebrities, about privacy, what rights we think people have to privacy. I mean, at one point, she talks about being in the hospital, giving birth to her second son, and paparazzi trying to climb the walls of the hospitals to get pictures of her. I mean, that's insane to me. But it made me think about how everything was so sensationalized. Every part of her life was made to be a cover story in a magazine. Paparazzi were encouraged to go as far as they could go, to do whatever they had to do to get the shot, to get the exclusive, to get the photo. And that just made me think about our relationship to social media now. You know, how people will rage bait and outrage bait and do whatever they can to mimic, who will do whatever they can to mimic that media frenzy in a new way now, in going viral. Oh my goodness, grief. Can't forget grief. I developed a new respect for grief and a new perspective on grief after reading certain parts of Britney Spears' memoir. She talks about all of her moments, including the shaving her head moment and the paparazzi umbrella moment. And I won't give away any spoilers, but all I will tell you is that there are so many things that were going on that we didn't know. And in those moments, she was in very profound and intense grief. And honestly, after reading that, they're lucky. The whole world is lucky that all she did was shave her head and hit a man with an umbrella, because I would have did much worse. So many people in Britney Spears' life are gonna bust hell wide open, and that's all I have to say about that. Yep. So yeah, Britney Spears, The Woman in Me, is far and away the most political book that I read in 2024. Reading is supposed to make you think. If the author of a book didn't want you to think about anything, they wouldn't have written anything for you to read. Period. And I think that this book wanted us to think about, among many things, what it's like for you to finally be able to tell your own story. When so many people think that they have you all figured out, when so many people think that they have the right to your story, when so many people don't want you to tell your side, what is it like to be able to tell your story for yourself? What's the most political book that you've read this year? Tell me what it is and tell me why in the comments. Thank y'all so much for hanging with me. All right, I'm gonna go to bed, cool kids. Good night.